our voices. Food donations are from Preeta Andrew from Mitai House, Sirisha Prithvi and Hema Sundar. Thank you all for your generosity and support which has made this event possible. Our media partner is Tamarika TV and we are being streamed live right now. Behind every successful event is a team and its leader. I would like to introduce to you one such leader, Nidhiya Gaspar, the founder and director of Shakti Corporation. May I call upon Nidhiya to give us an insight into Shakti. I would also request Shakti team members to come on the stage.
Thank you, Priya. I request Shakti team to be on the stage with me now. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a proud moment to be here in front of you. I would like to thank everyone here with me. They really went above and beyond to make this health workshop a reality. So let's give it a big hand to all of them here. Thank you. Like you see the Shakti's logo, we are women wearing multiple hats. We are mom, wife, successful in our career, homemaker, and also social activist. We, the group here, we found each other in a social media group. It all started a year and a half ago. We started as a small social media group and I was able to find women who are like-minded, like me, and who wanted to give back to society. See, we all are Indian Americans, first generation here. I know we all have our own story, the first day here in the US. It's a learning, it is not easy for us. Every day, every year, every minute, we are learning. And whatever we learned, especially the ones we learned the hard way all these years, we are ready to give back to the young women who are coming to this country from countries like India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal. We are just sharing our experience and all the mistakes that we made prior to these younger women. So that's what the Shakti's motto is. We rise by helping others. And like you can see, we are women empowering women. Thank you. I would like to share about a feature that we are offering here with Shakti. It's been there up for 1 year and there's a lot of women who's using it, but it might be new to some of you here. So I'm really proud to introduce this new feature, Ask a Friend or Talk to a Friend. So you can just call this number here or you can text this number. You don't have to reveal your identity. Okay, you can leave a message. And within 24 hours, we'll connect you to someone who's a professional with your question you had. Some of the questions we get is parenting help. Sometimes they get very frustrated with the kids and they would need some help. Somebody to talk to regarding the kids and to be a better parent. So as soon as somebody leaves a message, we connect them to somebody who has already been through that path. So we do have a bunch of mentors who has already been through the path and who are ready to share their experience with these new moms. So make use of this phone number. You can always call, text or email to us. And within 24 hours, we connect you to someone who can help you. Some of the questions we get is, some women might have to deal with a flirty colleague at work. And they're really not sure, who to discuss this with. So they give us a call. And most of the time it is anonymous. We don't ask them their name. And also, even if we know the name, it's all confidential. We don't reveal to anybody. And this inbox is monitored 24 by 7. As soon as somebody leaves a message, one of us hear the message, and then we look at the database and see who would be the right person to connect and help this woman. And then they take it one-on-one from there. So that's the idea. And if you go to womenshakti.org, the number is right there, so you can call us anytime. And thank you all. And we are going to have some informational sessions upcoming. I really hope you all are going to enjoy and benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nidya. Another group of supporters who work alongside with us are our collaborating partners, our sister organizations, who are also serving our communities in their own different ways. Some of our partners are here today, and they'll give us a short introduction of who they are and what they do. One of them is Kiran. Kiran's mission is to end the cycle of abuse and to serve and empower South Asian victims of domestic violence in North Carolina by providing culturally specific services and comprehensive economical, social, and community resources. KIT means ray of light, and true to its name, it's been lighting a path of hope to South Asian victims of domestic violence in North Carolina since 2008. Right now, they are based out of Raleigh, but they are starting a Charlotte chapter soon. This non-profit organization provides 24-hour access to trained crisis counselors, safety planning to help avoid dangerous situations, translation assistance to clients from South Asian countries, assistance with secure housing, legal referrals to family law, immigration, and criminal attorneys, secondary family services, and client advocacy. They've started a challenge chapter, as I said, and it's being led by Indu Vaidyanathan, who's here today with us, and also Shikha Bhatnagar. If you need more information on Kiran, you can either look them up on the website. You can also talk to them at their information booth right outside. Most of the speakers here today have information booths. Just because we have a limitation of time today, we're not going to have Q&A with everyone. If you have any questions for any of our speakers, they're right outside at the end of the session, you can talk to them. Our first speaker today is Viji Suresh. She is a part of Shakti. She is a yoga instructor with UNCC, and Viji is going to walk us through ways to keep fit and how to manage a healthy weight. Viji?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Priya, for a nice introduction. I was an IT professional, and standing here in front of you as a yoga teacher really makes me so proud and happy. So first of all, I would like to thank Shakti Karp Board of Directors and the leadership team for inviting me as one of the speakers. And thank you, Shakti Karp. And I also like to thank my husband, Suresh, and my two little boys for always being there for me. So today my topic is about weight management. So every new year, apart from parties and get-togethers, we all have one thing in common. So that is setting up resolutions, New Year resolutions. And weight loss is one of the top fitness goals that we all think of. And sometimes, so we start looking for memberships in a gym or a yoga studio, or we start planning for a walk or follow any of the special diets like paleo, low carb diet, raw food diet, etc. And we are very religious during the whole month of January. And what happens after Valentine's Day, like the mid of February? We all know the answer. So, when we follow any exercise like a weight loss diet plan or an exercise routine, we definitely lose weight. But the moment we stop that, we are gaining our weight back. So I think most of you would have experienced this. So here today I'm not going to talk about any specific diet plan or any specific yoga or exercise for weight loss. Rather, I'm here to tell you some awesome tips that will really help you in reducing your weight and keeping you fit and stay healthy with your current lifestyle and your diet patterns. So that is what I'm here going to talk about. The first one I would like to share is the common mistakes. So before I give you the first tip, I would like to talk about the common mistakes that we are all doing. So the first mistake that we are doing is eating on schedule. So whether we are at office or at home, we start eating by, most of us, we start eating by looking at the time. So we are eating out of habit and not out of hunger. So that way we are giving more calories to the body even when the body is not asking for it. So that way we are gaining more weight. So this is one of the common mistakes. And the second one is eating with distractions. So in this IT world, there is one thing that we are all expert at, even including kids. So that is multitasking. We cook, we watch YouTube videos and cook, we eat, watch television and we eat, and we will be attending a phone call, replying to an email and we'll be eating while driving in a car. So we are all experts at that. So what happens, so when we do that, it's for the brain, it takes almost 20 minutes or so to send a signal saying that I am full and to turn off the appetite. But if we are very busy with some other task, we end up eating more. And also, when the brain does not send the signal, and the memory is not stored. So we think we have not eaten, and sooner we are going to eat some more and gain some extra pounds. So that is what is happening. And the third mistake that we are all doing is pay no gratitude. So if you see, most of us, we rarely pay our gratitude for the food on the table. So as per the World Health Organization survey, there are almost 795 million people who do not have enough food to lead a healthy, active life. That is about 1 in 9 person on earth. However, we get healthy meals all the 3 times. So even live about gratitude, we don't even see the food or smell the fragrance, the flavors, or even feel the texture of the food. And so remember, the digestion starts only with the sight, thought and smell of the food. So the moment we start appreciating the food, we are allowing the body to process the food very normally. And moving on, the fourth mistake that we are all doing is eating in a rush and no chewing. So if you have small kids at home, maybe you will be saying that very repeatedly to the kid, chew your food, chew your food, chew your food. But are we doing it? So that is a big question. So more we chew our food, we are exposing the food to the antibacterial enzyme called lysozyme in the saliva. So more we chew, more fuller we feel, and we are having enough time for the brain to signal that it is full, and we are very less likely to overeat. And the mistake number 3 is drinking water before and during the meals. So whenever the brain is expecting an incoming meal, it will send a signal to the stomach to segregate the hydrochloric acid. However, if we drink water before that, we are diluting the acid. So not all the food that we eat are getting digested. So these are all the common mistakes that we are all doing. So the first tip that I would like to share with you all is mindful eating. So mindfulness is nothing but doing just one thing at a time with 100% awareness. So whenever I talk about mindfulness, I like to share this Zen proverb. So when walking, walk. When eating, eat. So that is, trust your body's hunger signal. So eat only when you are hungry and focus on food. No multitasking. And pay gratitude and chew the food. Remember, we have the teeth only in the mouth and not in the stomach. So chew the food and very little water intake while eating. So this is the first tip that I would like to share with you all. Moving on to the second one is the power of breath. Being a yoga teacher, I love to talk about breath. So when you take a long, like everybody, there is in this current world, we have put so many things into the autopilot mode, and one of them is our own breathing. So we are all breathing from the chest. So that is called as the shallow breathing. But actually, when you breathe from your belly to your ribs to your chest, so that is a deep, long, slow and deep breath. So when you do that, you are actually, it needs lots of focus and attention, and it sends more oxygen to the body, and it is actually activates the relaxation too. And you might be thinking, yeah, that is all great, but how does it help in losing the weight? So if you see, the fat is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So the oxygen that we intake, when it comes in contact with the fat molecules, it is broken down into carbon dioxide and water. And then the blood will pick up the carbon dioxide as a waste product, and then it sends it to the lungs to be exhaled it out. So the more oxygen that we intake, the more fat we are burning. So, I can teach you all how to do this conscious breathing. So please join me. So you can really sit up really nice and tall. Relax your shoulders, and if you are comfortable, you can close your eyes. And then now breathe from your belly to your ribs to your chest. And then as you exhale, your ribs draw together and your belly softens. One more time, breathe in from your belly to your ribs to your chest. And as you exhale, your ribs draw together and your belly softens. One more time, breathe in, long, slow and deep breath in, and smooth breath out. Excellent. So as you notice, the lungs, like the conscious deep breathing, really needs lots of focus and attention. But when it really helps us in losing our weight, and we can do this at any time, and when it really helps us in losing weight, why can't we practice this every moment? So that is my second tip. And moving on to the third, this is the intermittent fasting. So fasting is one of the disciplines that we follow in most of our culture. So intermittent fasting is about not changing your current lifestyle, not changing your diet patterns, but just changing the time that you are eating the meal. So you can remember this by this, eat by 8. So if you remember that, so that is what is intermittent fasting is all about. So you will be finishing your dinner by 8 p.m. and then you will have you're going to break the fast and have your breakfast in the morning at 8 a.m. So you have 12 hours of fasting time. So you might be thinking, I'm already doing this, but the biggest mistake that we all do is we finish the dinner by 8 and then before going to bed, either we take milk or we take a fruit or something, or in the morning we take black coffee or black tea or something. So that way, even when you do that, it is not 12 hours of fasting. So you are really breaking the fast when you have that fruit or black coffee. So intermittent fasting is having that 12 hours of fasting time. So when you do that, you give 4 hours for the digestive system to really finish its work, and then you are giving almost 8 hours of the liver to do the detoxification process. So that way our body naturally becomes a fat burner. So, intermittent, apart from weight loss, intermittent fasting has lots of benefits. You can start with this 12 hours of fasting, and then you can gradually increase to 13, 14 and go up to 16 hours of fasting. So, as a summary, so these are my 3 tips. These are my 3 tips. So the first one is mindful eating, the second one is conscious deep breathing, and the third one is the intermittent fasting. These 3 techniques are very, very, very simple yet very difficult to follow. So I would like to end my speech by sharing you the secret of success which was shared by Tiger Woods. So when someone asked Tiger Woods what was his secret for success, he shared 3 keywords: practice, practice and practice. So let's remember that, and let's take one at a time. Maybe you can try one tip at a time and then include it in your lifestyle and see how this is helping you. I'm definitely sure that you will be able to achieve your goal. Thank you so much for listening so patiently to me, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Vijay, for all the info. I'm one of those people who just cannot fast. I have to have my dinner early, and then by 9 o'clock I'm growling again and I want something else. So I'm going to take all the tips home and try it out. As a thank you token to Vijay, we'd like to give something from Shakti. May I request Ms. Indu Vaidyanathan to come up on stage and give Vijay our little token of thanks. Thank you, Induji. Thank you, Vijay. Well, when Vijay told us when to eat, how to eat, what to eat, we did not get to what to eat, right? So that's the next trick. How do we get your kids to eat healthy? We just keep saying, don't eat junk food. And then we're like, what do we give them to eat? How do I get them to eat that healthy food? So don't worry, our volunteers have some tricks up their sleeves and they'll be happy to share them with you. Meet us at the information booth towards the end of the presentation. Shakti leaders and some volunteers, moms, will be at this booth to talk to you. Our next speaker is Tisha Love. I'm sorry, I'm still learning. Tisha Love. Tisha is a clinical Ayurveda specialist and runs her own practice at Tisha Love Wellness. She'll be talking to us today about stress management. How many of us are stressed here? At some point in the day? All of us? Oh, I see some people who are not stressed. Nice. Tisha? Thank you so much.
Right. Hi, everyone. Hello. How are you? Good. So first, thank you so much, Shakti Corporation, for inviting me. I am deeply honored that you would have me here to speak about stress management, particularly through Ayurveda. I'm an Ayurvedic health practitioner, but before I get to give you a little information about me and how I got drawn to Ayurveda, this topic is so important, as we all know, because stress basically is one of the main causes of really behind any and all health conditions. In some way, stress is related because it shifts how we eat. If we're stressed out, usually we start craving things like sugar and coffee and just all of those other stimulants, When we're stressed out, oftentimes we're not getting enough sleep or we're not sleeping well. When we're stressed out, we're running from here to there, which is one of the things that makes us stressed. So really, everything from heart health to peace of mind, all of that, stress plays a big role. So this is key for sure. But going back to Ayurveda, so I'm originally from Charlotte, born and raised. My parents are from York, South Carolina, which is 40 minutes south of Charlotte. But I've always had this interest in health and wellness. And my family in York, South Carolina, it's a rural community. Does anybody have heard of York or know where it is? Yeah, many of those live in South Charlotte. So it's 40 minutes south of Charlotte. And my father grew up on a working farm that our family owned until he was age 12. All throughout my childhood, we always went to York on the weekends, even though we were living in Charlotte and my grandparents lived out in the country. Later on, I find out that my great-grandfather knew all about herbs on the land. And so basically what I'm saying is that I've had this drawing within my own family history and legacy around natural health and living in harmony with nature and the cycles of nature, which is what Ayurveda is all about. So along the years, as I went on to be interested in health and wellness, I was drawn to Ayurveda because it's a complete system that is just that, rooted in understanding nature. So that's kind of how I got, or a little bit about how I got to Ayurveda and looking at it as a practice. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So that's a little bit about me. And again, and even though I know many of you already know what Ayurveda is, but just to review, because the thing is that all of this knowledge and wisdom is a remembering. It's a coming back to what we already know. Like we already know that we should go to bed at a decent time, right? 9 o'clock. We already know that when we don't eat well, our stomach tells us that things are off. But because of the stress, because of all the demands we have on our life, we forget. And so Ayurveda is a remembering. It means the knowledge of life. Closer? Oh, sorry about that. So the knowledge of life is what Ayurveda literally means. And the way, even I've mentioned this already several times, but the way that I always explain it, because it's kind of the quickest way to bring the concept across, is that Ayurveda is all about living in harmony with nature. So your own unique nature, your mind, body type, your constitution, and the nature around you, the seasons, the time of day, the time of life. And so this is what guides us when it comes to an approach of how to manage stress. Because what allows us to manage stress is going back to those basic things, getting the 7 to 8 hours of sleep, waking up ideally with the sun, eating all what Viji was talking about, eating calmly, all of that, digesting well, all of that is living in harmony with nature. And so Ayurveda identifies 3 main causes of disease. And one of them is a misuse of the senses, mistaken intellect, and time and motion. Time and motion is basically saying stress. That's one of the main causes of disease. The misuse of the senses is like that when we overeat, basically. It's a misuse of the senses. Mistaken intellect is just what we talked about earlier, when we do the things that we know aren't good for us, but we do them anyway, right? Out of habit. But that time and motion, being busy all the time, going everywhere, just worrying about externally outside of ourselves, all of those distractions, that's one of the main factors of disease. And so how I wanted to tie in Ayurveda with stress management is around this Ayurvedic concept of ojas. Who's familiar with the word ojas? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Okay, thank you. So ojas is basically the Sanskrit word that means your overall vitality, your immunity, your ability to withstand stress. And it's what allows us to be healthy. And what depletes ojas are all those things that stress you out. Poor digestion, for sure, prevents the body from formulating healthy ojas. Burning the candle at both ends, as we say. depletes OJAS. All of the things that we do, the work that we do, all of the expenditure of energy that we do in daily life depletes OJAS. And so the key to being able to withstand stress is by doing the things that feeds us, that nourishes us, that allows our body to build OJAS back up. And OJAS is built through those things like meditation and yoga and so forth, but also through proper digestion. Because OJAS, according to Ayurveda, is the last thing after all of the different tissues of the body that's developed from healthy digestion and healthy nutrition. I see everyone over there nodding their head. So let's move forward. So OJAS, remember that. And so I just want to give a few little tips here about how do we build OJAS. I just kind of quickly ran through them, but let's look at them a little more. So one is meditation and yoga. So basically the practices that help to calm the mind. Allows you then to eat well, digest your food, just as what Viji was saying earlier, and therefore produce healthy OJAS. So meditation is one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here because we just had another speaker, and there's a meditation instructor that's outside a booth right next to mine. But basically calming the mind, just remember that concept. And even again, this is a remembering, because we know this, but we forget because we're busy just living life, right? The next one is the OJAS through food. So again, going back to that healthy digestion. So not only is it healthy digestion, but certain foods can also help promote healthy OJAS, which again, that OJAS is what allows us to withstand stress. So what are some of the types of foods that can help us build OJAS when we know we need to really strengthen it? One are warm, moist, cooked foods. So rather than what's all kind of the American trend to health, quote unquote, health foods, things like cold smoothies, cold salads, those don't build OJAS. What builds OJAS are warm, cooked, nourishing foods that's been digested well. Fresh, seasonal foods. So getting your food from the farmer's market, eating fresh rather than canned foods or frozen foods. Fresh, seasonal foods nourishes the body, and therefore, after it's digested well, helps to build OJAS. Whole grains, even though that's controversial in this day and age, but whole grains, quality organic milk. In North Carolina, unfortunately, you can't get raw milk, but you can in South Carolina. So if you live in South Charlotte, there's actually a farm that's in York, South Carolina, called Bush and Vine, and they sell raw milk from local cows. So just something to keep in mind. And then other things such as ghee, clarified butter, almonds, dates, those also help to promote OJAS. Now, depending on your constitution, you might want to eat certain, it depends on the person as to how much of these things that you eat. But this is just an overview of particular foods that can help to build OJAS when digested well. And then certain herbs, so such as ashwagandha, shatavari, amalaki, those are an example of what's also sometimes called adaptogenic herbs, but herbs that help to build OJAS as well. Okay, but again, the key with all of this when it comes to food is, are you digesting it well? Because it's the healthy digestion that allows the OJAS to be built. And so, again, I'm pointing back to Viji's presentation. All of those guidelines for healthy eating that she went through, those are the key to then take what you eat and digest it well so that then it builds OJAS. Again, going back to the meditation and to calming the mind, not only when you eat, but all throughout daily life, minimizing stress in that way, that helps to build OJAS and give yourself the strength, the ability to withstand all of the stress. Okay, make sense? Yes. Great. All right. And then another big one, and all of this, definitely my presentation and Viji's are overlapping because all of it is so intertwined. Everything that we do in our life is intertwined. So another way that calms the mind is through stable routine. So I have here a stable routine, an example of around sleeping, around eating, for sure. Those are two things for key. So going to bed at the same time ideally by 10 p.m., even though I know that's hard in our modern times, but that's what we want to strive for, is going to bed by about 10 p.m. Definitely, ideally, no later than 11. And then waking up at the same time. Getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but around, it depends on what time you went to sleep, but around 6 a.m. or so. And then also your self-care practices that you do throughout the day. So when you wake up, your dinacharya, or you're drinking hot water in the morning, taking time out for meditation or for a little bit of yoga practice in the morning. Keeping that stable routine from day to day, week to week, that adds calm, which allows you to build ojas. Okay? And so this slide here